What's up? I'm Ross. I talk about personal finance and economic news from a single guy's perspective. I want to react today to an interview I saw with Nick Cannon and kind of pull out a couple of nuggets that we as men can take from his view on investing in personal finance. So let's get right into it.
No, no, and I guess you actually own this whole building.
Yeah. Come on, man. You got to invest in yourself.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I remember because when we were scheduling the interview and everything else like that, my assistant, I guess talking to your assistant, she's like, he can park wherever he wants. We own the building. I'm like, okay.
Facts. There's a big parking lot outside.
Okay.
So first thing I want to say is Nick Cannon talking about investing in himself. Vlad brings up that he owns the building, and he said that's what's up. You got to invest in yourself. Now, not everybody can do what Nick Cannon does. He's obviously in the top 0.01% or whatever he's in as far as his income and his earning potential. So not everybody can just buy a building. But what you should take from this is investing in yourself, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy a building. Not everybody's going to be able to buy a building like Nick Cannon, but you can always invest in yourself. And that could mean, for instance, going back possibly to finish that degree, or if you're a welder, going to a special welding class, learning a new type of welding, learning a new language, any number of things you can do to invest in yourself. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on the outside. In fact, I would argue that if you're middle class or below middle class, you get your best return on investment from investing within, right? That's learning new skills, learning new things. Now, make sure that you are frugal and with your money. Make sure that you're investing in the proper things that are going to return. But yes, you should always take some of your money, some of your income, and reinvest it in yourself. A good rule of thumb is to reinvest at least 5% of your income back into yourself. Again, that's taking classes, learning new skills, learning a language, whatever you think can progress you, and maybe not even in your career, maybe just making you a more interesting person. Like I said, learning a new language, that may not have a direct effect on your career per se, but it would make you a more interesting person, and you could travel and talk to more people. So there's all kinds of different ways you can invest in yourself, but the key is to be doing it. You have to have that mindset to invest in yourself. Now, real estate is a great way to invest, and if you can afford a building in a good area, location, if you can afford real estate, then that's great, but that's not the only way to invest in yourself. But we can take that at least 1 point from Nick Cannon. Always invest in yourself. Let's get back into it.
Owning the actual, not only your masters, but where you're creating your masters and actually owning the property and diversifying that way. So
Yeah,
dope,
I'm
man.
just trying to buy up a lot of property in Hollywood, man. I mean, I was wearing my money around my neck and driving it around for a long time, and I started hanging around a lot of these older dudes in the game, and they don't have no jewelry on. They driving Priuses, and they be like, yeah, I own that nightclub, I own that restaurant, I own that hotel. I was like, teach me your ways.
So number two is he said he was wearing his money around his neck and driving his money, and then he started getting near ultra rich people, and they were driving Priuses, and they didn't have any chains, and they owned a lot of property. So I think that's the number two lesson you can learn from this is you don't have to look wealthy to be wealthy. In fact, most people that look wealthy are not wealthy. Buying jewelry and fancy cars doesn't get you to wealth. It may make you look wealthy, but that money should be rather invested into things that appreciate over time. That's number two you can learn. I like to look good. Hey, everybody likes to dress well and look good, but it gets to a point where it's got to fit in your budget. It's got to make sense. And if you're spending thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably in Nick Cannon's case, on jewelry, that's just not a good investment. And us as regular guys, we can afford that even less. So it may not be jewelry for us. Maybe that item is guns, or maybe that item is gaming equipment, or maybe that item is old cars that we like to fix up on. Whatever that case is, you've got to be careful of what you're putting your money into, and specifically of things that you're doing to impress other people. And again, that doesn't necessarily always come across in jewelry and cars. And Nick is obviously black, as am I. In black culture, that's the way it comes across. But I tell you what, I've seen a lot of blue collar good old boys, and man, I tell you what, those guys got toys, ATVs, boats, you name it. You name it. I pull up to the plant where I work sometimes, and these guys have toys out the wazoo. So it may not necessarily be jewelry and cars that you're into. But whatever it is, it's got to make sense. If it's a depreciating asset, you've got to understand that, and you've got to know that that is essentially wasted money. There's one more aspect I want to talk about, Nick. This is a bonus point, and I would be remiss to say we can also take one thing that we should not do, especially as regular guys. Nick Cannon has 12 kids by 6 baby mamas. That is a lot. Now, clearly, like I said earlier, he's 0.001%, so he can afford it at this point. But for regular guys, this is backbreaking right here. I don't know. I'd probably be in jail by now. I don't know how anybody would keep up with the child support. So that's one thing you can take away not to do from Nick Cannon. Like, if you're a regular guy, this ain't it. Once again, my name is Ross. I talk about personal finance and economic news from a single guy's perspective. If you made it this far, consider giving me a like or subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it would help me out immensely. Peace.